Hi guys and welcome back to my channel. My name is Yvonne and this is STICKYMESS17. My channel is all about cleaning, information, inspiration and motivation and my life. So if you're interested, please like and subscribe, turn on those notification bells so that you're notified every Wednesday and Sunday at 10 a.m. when I upload a new video. Believe it or not, that road that I've just been on is super bumpy. And today we are in Port Alfred and we are headed back at this point from the video from the Great Fish Point Lighthouse, and this is a beautiful lighthouse and it is actually spinning here and you can just about see it from the treetops. Don't worry, the footage does get better. Built 800 meters from the shoreline and standing 75 meters above sea level, its warning light strength of 5 million candeliers can be detected at a focal plane height of 85 meters above the high water mark as a result of its location elevation. So I'm fascinated with lighthouses and how they work and old things and ruins. And as you can see, this has got like a simple bulb, but it's brighter than what we've got in our homes. But all the light glass lenses that project the light, it like mirrors it and sends it out to sea. So I find that very fascinating. And this is the tuxedo looking lighthouse, and if it's red and white, it's because it's on a white backdrop and it makes it more visible to ships. The red and white is more prominent on the shoreline. There's some useless information for you. Now, I have just seen this on the day I came back. Taps have run out across South Africa's largest city in unprecedented water crisis.
Where they cut the electricity, but they cut the water off too when there's no electricity. And that is a first that I know of in South Africa, is cutting it when they cut the power. So it's now 8:30, is it? 8:30? Yeah, 8:30. No toilet, no bath, and no shower. So that's going to be fun, but at least we've got electricity.
So now we're going to take a drive. This is early evening and you can see how the cloud makes the sky look like it's on fire. It is absolutely beautiful. The roads down in this area aren't the greatest, and the speed humps, there seems to be no guidelines or guidance on how high or steep these speed humps can be. Some of them are really nice to go over, smooth and, you know, basic, but some of them, I just realized I was in the wrong lane, but some of them are quite high and quite steep, and if you go over them too fast they will damage your car. So now we're going to take a drive over the Cowie River, and this is the main bridge linking into Port Alfred, little town of itself. When you go over the bridge, there's a whole bay and a whole different area, and you can follow over the bridge. The road takes you out to Grahamstown, Port Elizabeth, and East London, and this is like the main dominant focal point of Port Alfred. The entry into it is this bridge. So last year on our trip to South Africa, we went down to George, and in the knysna area, there is this massive strawberry. It obviously is a fake strawberry, but since we've seen the strawberry, we decided we had to go find out about the pineapple. Now, the pineapple was completed a good 30 years ago. It is a freestanding structure. It's obviously made of like fiberglass, and there's like a steel staircase and things inside it, but it is really well made. It does need a lot of TLC and probably a bit of you can see a bit of renovation there, but there's a lot of information about pineapples. Who would have known there's so many uses for pineapples? So we decided to go up, and it was only 25 rand for 3 of us, which was about £1 in today's money, so in UK money at least. But this is from the top and the views going around, so I'm going to just show you around, and then you can just have a look at how beautiful it is. That is the Bay of Port Alfred, and the sea is far in the distance there, but we're not actually that far from the sea. We are quite a little bit higher up than the actual Port Alfred town itself. This is a working farm, and they do grow and harvest their pineapples. They even make pineapple cider as well as a pineapple beer. Did you know that you could make beer from pineapples? You can also make paper from the stems on the pineapple. And did you know that pineapples don't quite grow on the ground? They grow on a bush, and they sit on top of the little bush, sort of like a flowering plant. But this is the top of the pineapple, this statue thing that we went into, and I will show you some pineapple plants as well. And I will also show you a bit of information that you'll see in a second on pineapples, that not all pineapples are actually safe to eat, and not all of them are edible. So there's a lot of information within this little pineapple, different layers. There's the paper, and here's some information about pineapples not being fully edible, and that not all pineapples are edible. So if you want to read that, have a read. That, you know, just pause the video. And then we found some nostalgic beans that I grew up playing with as a kid. But now I'm going to show you the pineapples, and as you can see, the pineapples are like on top of the little bushes, and they use the plant for certain things. They use the stems for certain things. The spikes on top of a pineapple are also used for things, and then obviously they cored and tinned and made into juice and things like that. So if you didn't know how pineapples grow, you can see the pineapples growing here. Right, so we've been to the pineapple, and now we're at somewhere called the Toposcope. I might be mispronouncing that. It's currently UV warning of 9, so it's almost completely high. The highest we've had so far, I think, was 11 or 13, I can't remember. It's 23 degrees now, and it's 12:30. We're at this place called the Toposcope, and driving up to it, I will be honest, my personal opinion, my first opinion, I knew it was a bit bland, I can't think of a better word, a more polite word. But when we've arrived here now, it looks even more bland than what the Google images were. So we're going to show you anyway, because we're here. And the views, I must say, from what I can see here, are pretty incredible. So come with me and let's go show you. The Toposcope is a heritage site commemorating the 1820s and the settlers and their dependents. Now, there's people that are listed here from London, Monmouth, Pembrokeshire, Lampeter, all around the West Midlands, like Worcester, in case you can't pronounce that. There's all sorts of areas throughout the UK. These are the British settlers and their descendants that have immigrated and reside in this part of South Africa. All the original plaques are copper, and they now stand in the Cowie River Museum, and it's all about the British settlers and the Xhosa heritage, and how the settlers and how their lives were back in the day, and even to now. There's also old technology and stuff there. It's quite a small museum. It's very informative. The staff there are incredible, and there's also a train line in the area. There have been some additions made in the recent years, and these are the plaques and the little stones that have been added into the monument since the monument has been completed. So next we headed off to the Agricultural Museum, and I will be honest, when I heard Agricultural Museum, I'm like, this is not my cup of tea. But you can see here there's a vast amount of land, and we were told that there was a boomslang, which is a direct translation is a tree snake that was hovering in the grass. So we had to be careful of that. But unfortunately, it was by the ladies' toilet, which was also fortunate because it was staying away from us. It was very informative to see some of the old machinery, and it was very interactive. And even my first mobile phone that I ever owned or was given by my parents, but so it was mine, but it wasn't. Some of the old phones, the ticky boxes, and that horribly dirty phone is the one that we had when we were growing up, the wired one. I'm not quite as old as these cameras are, but I do remember my dad having one very similar, and just looking at some of the cameras and the technology, how it's moved on, and even the last 10 years is incredible. So there's old typewriters, there's old farm equipment, phones, there's an old saw thing that you cut wood with, and that runs off a hand crank, and that is absolutely amazing. So next we headed off to Guido's for supper, and just a quick look at the menu and the food to settle our tummies before the night in with load shedding and water shedding. So we're going to fill our bellies now, and then we're going to head home. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the UV rays have been incredibly high, and I have got myself completely burnt, not intentionally, but I am peeling. Now, this is the next night now. We have been down to the Cowie Museum. There is a lot of interactivity, and I've got a lot of footage, but I'm not going to put it in because it contains my daughter, and this is not the channel for my daughter to be exploited on. So this is just a view of the outside area. This is the Cowie River, and there's some amazing properties on the other side. It was so windy, and it was actually quite unpleasant because the wind was coming straight into the little bit that we were eating, but it was okay, and it did settle a bit later. So this is the platter that we had at the Ocean Basket. I love Ocean Basket. I grew up working at the Fishmonger restaurant, which is a sort of same thing, and they have similar food to the Ocean Basket. We did go to the Fishmonger in Bryanston, but this was done in Port Alfred, so it was still very good. We did also have a friend in our little annex that you had, and let me know if you think that is a gecko or a chameleon. Sorry, not a chameleon, a gecko or a lizard. What do you think? He stayed in the house and we couldn't get rid of him, and apparently he's been there for ages. Then we had to deal with some lice, which I think we brought over with us from the UK. Now, this is just a quick snippet of the railway information at the Cowie. We headed off to Grahamstown, and I wonder if you know what this thing is. It is called an Obscura. It is just a layer of mirrors that work exactly the same as your eye. I'll get into this bit of the video now. It works exactly the same as your eye, and it's up in a tower, and they can pull it by strings, and it reflects down into this white bowl. The bowl is quite flat, but it is clearer than a camera, than the images that you can see. Now we are at the Impequeni, I hope I said that right, resort, and we came here because we were getting quite bored in Port Alfred, and I must say this resort was absolutely beautiful. We spent the day at the pool. The views are amazing. We did have access to the beach, as you can see down there, but the food was the only thing that we had to buy, food and drinks. This was quite early in the morning. I think they let us in at about 10 o'clock. We were the only people there. I think they were having a conference the next day, so they were getting the place all prepped and ready. The pool was being cleaned, and the pool was a little bit cold when we first arrived, but it did heat up beautifully, and the views are amazing. Just look at that swimming pool. It was very deep in the middle, but on the outsides it was pleasant to stand on and play in, and like I said, we had the whole resort to ourselves. There is activities at this resort as well, which we could have gone kayaking, paddleboarding, pendulum, what are those? paddle boat things called. I can't think off the top of my head. But we decided to have lunch and then go in the pool. And this was a deconstructed burger, and I had some wraps. It was very, very nice. But it was just too much. And I think the whole lot cost us less than 100 Rand. So well worth it. I don't know whether they do just let day visitors in on a whim, but we just turned up. I had emailed them the night before. They hadn't replied. So we decided to go for a drive and just see what we came across. But the accommodation and that all looks very, very nice. Something I did forget to mention about the Obscura is that there's only 2 in the world. One's in the Southern Hemisphere, which is in Grahamstown, and the other one is in the Northern Hemisphere, which is in Edinburgh. It was 25 Rand for us to go into Grahamstown, and it's apparently £25 per person to get into the one in Edinburgh. I know there's more lights and things in the one in Edinburgh, but I'm just so grateful to have seen the one down in Grahamstown. And the man who actually invented it was the one that found one of the diamonds that was to be verified and then sent off, and De Beers bought that diamond, and hence the De Beers gold mine, which is also diamond mine, which is also found in South Africa, and that is in Kimberley, and we don't go there. We haven't been there this trip. So this is a credit from TikTok, Chief Wandering Officer, and he has got a beautiful aerial shot of Port Alfred and the Cowie River going into the sea. And I saw this and I just had to screen record it because it is absolutely beautiful. So thank you, Chief Wandering Officer, for letting me pinch your footage. It's absolutely beautiful. Now this is a hardy-dar. Yeah, it goes wah, wah. Very, very loud birds, predominantly found in South Africa, but mainly in the Johannesburg region. And they are now being seen all over the country. And they are very noisy birds. They are very big birds and they're very heavy birds. But yeah, they just seem to eat the worms and things in the ground. And that is going to be it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Come back next time and I'll see you in the next one. Look after yourselves, look after your brains, and I'll see you next time. Take care, see you, bye.